Welcome to Rice TVX. On today's Rice Report, we are going to continue with the series, The Great Reset. This is part number 2. I do have part 1 linked down below in the video description. If you're watching this on replay, I would say fast forward to about the 3.5 minute mark. Going to give everybody time to get into today's live stream, and we're going to go ahead and get things started. First, with a few quick messages from the sponsors of Rice TVX.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap will get you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.com.
And we are currently live streaming on both Rice TVX and Rice TVX2. Make sure you are subscribed to both channels on YouTube, and we are also simultaneously live casting as well on float.app. That's FLOTE.app. You can find me there at Rice TVX. You can always find information in the video description for BitSwap Dex for Monarch and Presearch. Before we get into it, visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. You will also find my various social media links and more. Make sure you're subscribed to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2, the backup channel. Both can be found on YouTube, and hit the notification bell to get alerted for new videos. You can also find Rice TVX on Odyssey and Library, where I have a full catalog of my videos, post up extra content, and share other appearances. And you can also find Rice TVX on BitChute. To support Rice TVX directly, you can contribute or send tips to PayPal, to Cash App, or cryptocurrencies via my Cointree link in the video description. Everything is appreciated. Another way to support what I do is by joining my Patreon channel, where you will get early access to some of my videos, exclusive content, and more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button because it helps people to find these kind of videos in the YouTube algorithm flow, and it helps bring attention to Rice TVX and all the messages that I try to bring to the masses. So I do appreciate you joining me on today's live stream. Go ahead and get everything situated with what's going on for today. We are going into part number 2 of the Great Reset. We're going to be talking about who Klaus Schwab is. He is the founder of World Economic Forum. And in addition to that, we're going to be talking about the agenda, the Great Reset agenda. I've got lots to share. Everything that we're going to be talking about is going to be linked down below in today's video. I am going to be, at the end of the video, I'm going to be go ahead and coming over to the live chat and see what everybody has to say. I'll try to make it periodically, but I've got a lot to share on today's video. So definitely towards the end, give me a 5x5. Let me know that you can hear me. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Also, I do have information scrolling across the various bottom of the screen, so make sure you're paying attention to all that good stuff. One thing that I do want to remind people of right here is beware of imposter accounts. There's lots of these. Apparently, there's a couple on Facebook Messenger, there's a couple on Instagram, there's a couple on Telegram. So they're probably a little bit of everywhere. And this wouldn't only be just for myself, but it would be for other content creators as well. Again, give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. So beware of imposter accounts. I am at Rice TVX pretty much everywhere. A few places I'm at Rice Crypto, where I wasn't able to change my username. So you're not going to see me at Rice TVV or anything to that effect. If you go to ricetvx.com, you can see my social media information, and you'll be able to confirm which accounts are mine or not mine. But I will not email you or DM you regarding anything related to sending you or sending me any cryptocurrency or money, or participating in any kind of investment or pyramid scheme. Please report these fake accounts, not only for myself, but for other content creators. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for the 5x5. Good seeing you, Johnny Midas, Misko, Andy Lee, Tara Spence. Great seeing you guys in the house. I do appreciate. And let me go ahead and get this off screen real quick. All right, going to do a quick screen share. I was talking with the folks over at Money Metals Exchange with everything that's going on with the economic turmoil, with the uncertainty in with the situation with Russia and Ukraine and how that's going to escalate. A lot of people have been going to gold and silver. So right now, Money Metals Exchange has a little bit of an order delay. Actually, it's an extreme order delay. You may experience a shipping delay of up to 2 days. So keep that in mind, but make sure you're taking advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. This is a way that you can not only support the channel, but you can also look after yourself. Because I always encourage people to diversify with cryptocurrencies, precious metals, not financial advice. Make sure you're doing your own research, but these things have proven themselves throughout time. And you can get a free 1/2 ounce of silver with my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. It's really simple, just takes 5 easy steps. And I'm going to play a really quick, short little video explaining exactly how to do that. Free silver. Get your free 1/2 ounce of silver. Take full advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange in 5 easy steps. 1. Visit moneymetals.com. 2. Be a first-time buyer. 3. Purchase a minimum of $100. 4. Use the promo code RICE. 5. Get a free 1/2 ounce of silver, and it's an additional way to support the channel. And it's really just that easy. So I do videos periodically talking about various products that Money Metals does offer. Moneymetals.com. I'm a real big fan of the gold backs and fractional silver. So be sure to check out their website, moneymetals.com, and be sure you use that promo code RICE. That's how you get the free 1/2 ounce of silver, and that's how you support the channel as well. Now, everything, again, is going to be linked down below. I definitely encourage you to check out part 1. Some people were upset with part 1 because I was keeping it very factual, trying to report it as unbiasedly as I could, explaining what the World Economic Forum was or is. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of that, and I'm going to be mixing in some other things, but I'm not really going to have to speculate very much, because if you just read between the lines and you connect what's being said and what's being done, you can obviously tell that there is an agenda that's a lot more than being stated on their websites. But they are very transparent with information on their websites. And this is the man. This is Klaus Schwab. This is the guy who is the founder and the CEO, or the managing. I'll find out here in just a second. But he founded the forum in 1971, and it originally had a different name. That's all was covered in part number 1. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. But the one thing I wanted to highlight from the 1971 formation of what was to become the World Economic Forum was that is the same year that Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. That is when all money in the world was officially no longer backed by any gold or silver. So I find that to be very interesting that early 1971, I think it was January or February, was the formation of this forum, and it was August 15th that Nixon did what is called the Nixon shock and took us off the gold standard. So it's pretty interesting to think about. Okay, so he founded the forum in the same year in which he published this particular magazine, which in English is a Modern Enterprise Management and Mechanical Engineering. So he goes over all this different information. He writes several books. He wrote a book called The Great Reset. He wrote a book called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. He's most recently written a book called The Great Narrative, which we'll cover in a future episode. I'm only going to be doing 2 more parts in the series. The other 2 parts are going to be, the next part will be about the digital age. A lot of it will be about digital ID. And then the 4th part, I'll be talking about the Great Narrative. And depending on how much information I collect on both, I may combine them into one video. I don't want to drag this series out. So it'll either be 1 more part or potentially 2 more parts that will be sharing all that information. I want to go ahead and go full screen here for a minute so that everybody can see what I see on the screen. It gives various accomplishments. Now, again, this comes all from the World Economic Forum website. So what you're going to be gathering here is just, coming from his PR people. So they're definitely going to try to put a really good spin on who he is. He is an engineer and an economist by training. He holds doctorates in economics from the University of Freiburg and engineering from the Swiss Federal Institution of Technology and a master's of public administration from the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. So he's well accomplished. In 1972, he became the youngest professor on faculties of the University of Geneva. He's received numerous international and national honors. His latest books are The Fourth Industrial Revolution, which came out in 2016, and also Shaping the Fourth Industrial Revolution. After this would have been the release of the Great Reset book, which I believe was in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so there is also a Wikipedia article that goes over some information about his early life, his career, other things in regards. So some people have heard about Davos. Davos is a meeting that takes place with the World Economic Forum. So it started as the European Management Forum in 1971 and then changed its name in 1987 and became the World Economic Forum, and only referred to as simply as Davos, the name of the town where the forum is hosted each year. So a lot of people have heard of Davos. There's a lot of interesting individuals who have met at these various meetings in Davos with the World Economic Forum. They got information on his personal life as well as criticism. So there's a lot of information here. I know Wikipedia, sometimes people say, why are you using this as a resource? But in this particular instance, there is a lot of relevant information, and I definitely encourage people to check this out. So he is the executive chairman and founder of the World Economic Forum. Here is an article about the Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab. Let me see, scroll down here just a little bit. So this is basically talking about the idea of a progression of not only technology, but humanity. So previous industrial revolutions liberated humankind from animal power, made mass production possible, and brought digital capabilities to billions of people. This fourth industrial revolution is, however, fundamentally different. It is characterized by a range of new technologies that are fusing the physical, digital, and biological worlds, impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries, and even challenging ideas about what it means to be human. That alone is a really interesting thought, is challenging ideas about what it means to be human, and I guess sentience too, because we are seeing robots, androids that are getting citizenship via like Sophia. So there's a lot of interesting things that are happening in that aspect. The full book is available in English on Amazon if you would like to get it, The Fourth Industrial Revolution. I have not done an in-depth study, but there is a video that I will share a little bit of information, I think, here in just a minute. So this is the, I went over this a little bit on the World Economic Forum website. This is the Great Reset section. And there's also an article, Now is the Time for a Great Reset. Now, I'm not going over the entirety of all these things because I definitely want people to do a deeper dive. I don't want you to take what I'm saying in this video and not adding anything to it. So I'm trying to provide some information, enough information that's going to let you go down these rabbit holes and make some decisions about what's going on yourself so that you can be better educated with what's going on with the situation. Because if people don't start standing up in regards to some of these implementations that are going to be presented, it's going to be too late. And it's really important that we, the people, make our voices heard, and we make sure that things that are being built, new systems, are going to benefit humanity for future generations to come, and benefit us and help us to evolve. So what is talking about in this article is the COVID-19 lockdowns that may be gradually easing, but anxiety about the world's social and economic prospects is only intensifying, and that's kind of getting worse and worse and worse. There is good reason to worry. A sharp economic downturn has already begun, which I've talked about a lot, and we could be facing the worst depression since the 1930s. But while this outcome is likely, it's not unavoidable. Now, with that being said, we don't have to go with this outcome either. We don't have to go with the World Economic Forum's agenda. We can have different outcomes, but it takes the people standing up. So when enough people take a stand, nothing will be able to stand against the people. I can't stress that enough. When enough people take a stand, nothing can stand against the people. If you're enjoying this video, please smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are subscribed. And real quick, while I'm thinking about it, I want to go ahead and throw up something on the screen and encourage people to make sure that you're signing up on my mailing list at Rice TVX so that you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. And while you're over there, after you're done signing up for my mailing list, you'll see all my social media links so that you can confirm whether or not it's me that's contacting you so that you can avoid these imposters and these scammers that are trying to harm others. So please be careful out there. All right, so to continue on. All right, now, let's see, was there something else that I wanted to cover on this? Because this is a really short article. Let's see here. So basically talking about the ramifications of everything that took place with the pandemic and the lockdowns. This will have serious long-term consequences for economic growth, public debt, employment, and human well-being. According to the Financial Times, global government debt has already reached its highest level in peacetime. Well, peacetime is no more. Moreover, unemployment is skyrocketing in many countries. In the U.S., for example, 1 in 4 workers have filed for unemployment since mid-March, with new weekly claims far above historic highs. The International Monetary Fund expects the world economy to shrink by 3% this year, and that's really a generous number. A downgrade of 6.3% percentage points in just 4 months. So all of this exacerbate the climate and social crisis that were already underway. So some countries have already used the COVID-19 crisis as an excuse to weaken environmental protections and enforcement. And frustrations over social ills like rising inequality, U.S. billionaires' combined wealth has increased during the crisis, are also intensifying. So it gives a lot of information just kind of talking about this idea of why we need a great reset. The different components. They say that the agenda has 3 main components, and the first would still steer the market towards fairer outcomes. To this end, government should improve coordination, for example, in tax, regulatory, and fiscal policy, upgrade trade arrangements, and create the condition for stakeholder economy. Now, the second part of the component of the Great Reset agenda would ensure that the investments advance shared goals such as equality and sustainability. Here, the large-scale spending programs that many governments are implementing represent a major opportunity for progress. And the third and final priority of the Great Reset agenda is to harness the innovations of the Fourth Industrial Revolution to support the public good, especially by addressing health and social challenges. During the COVID-19 crisis, companies, universities, and others have joined forces to develop diagnostics, therapeutics, and possible vaccines, establish testing centers, create mechanisms for tracing infections, and deliver telemedicine. Imagine what could be possible if similar concerted efforts were made in every sector. Now, a lot of that sounds good, but what does it all mean? So you really have to kind of dig deep and really get the big story to fully comprehend everything that this agenda encompasses, because there's a lot of soft, vague language that's being utilized. But some of the video footage I'll share here in just a minute will kind of give a little bit different of a perspective on things. I'm not going to go over the entirety of this website. It's the Global Governance Project. It's part of the World Economic Forum, part of Klaus Schwab's Great Reset agenda. There's more information about seizing the moment. You never want to let a good crisis go to waste. So this is a really good article that I definitely encourage you to check out to get a little bit more information. And it is by Klaus Schwab, but it gives you a little bit of insight into his mind. So by reading some of the things that he's written or co-written, it gives you that insight. All right, now, really quickly, I want to stop this screen share. I want to be playing a couple of videos. So what I'm going to be doing to make it easier for myself is I'm just going to go full screen on this. And in the process of going full screen, not only am I just going full screen, I'm going to be doing a entire screen share because it makes it easier, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos to play. I want to play 4 of them first, then come back and show some more articles real quick. So again, there's a lot of information in this, and it's about to get on a really wild, interesting ride. So we're going to go ahead and go on that ride. Stop the screen share. And here we go. My Chrome tab. And the first video. It's a little short video talking. I'm not going to play the entirety of the video, but this is a video about what is the Great Reset, the Davos Agenda 2021. And this is for fair use, and everything I'm saying is written on a World Economic Forum. So if YouTube decides to try to give me a strike for this content, it would be ridiculous, because I'm just reporting what I'm seeing, and this is information that they don't have a problem with being on the website. There is a fact check here, but it's because there's a lot of misinformation being put out on this subject. I'm not trying to put out misinformation. I'm trying to share factual information from as much as a fact-based possible standard way that I can. So here we go.
Change the world as we know it, and the actions we take today as we work to recover.
Also, let me know that you can hear.
Will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before, simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before, ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect global leaders of conspiracy. But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why.
That is an interesting video in and of itself. I don't know why my microphone was muted there, but that is an interesting video in and of itself, as far as what's being shared. And it gives you a little bit more insight. Again, now they're trying to make this sound like there's all this inequality and the everyday individual suffering. But when you start to get a little bit more information I'm about to share, it kind of puts things in a different sense of perspective. It just seems like the elite seem like they know what's better for us than what we know is better for us. And I don't really think that they should be able to speak for humanity and say that this is the direction that we need to take. And this is the reason why I'm sharing this information. That's why I say when enough people take a stand, nothing can stand against the people. All right, so let me go ahead and get this next one. I meant to do entire screen share. And make sure I'm sharing my audio. Okay. Here we are. What is the Fourth Industrial Revolution? By our buddy, Professor Klaus Schwab. Again, let me know that you can hear this.
The Fourth Industrial Revolution will impact our lives completely. It will not only change how we communicate, how we produce, how we consume, it will change actually us, our own identity, and of course gives life to such policies and developments like smart traffic, smart government, smart cities. What we will see is that everything will be integrated into an ecosystem driven by big data and driven particularly by close cooperation also of governments with business, civil society. And this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami. And actually, it's not just a digital revolution, it's digital, of course, physical with nanotechnology, but it's also biological. And so three dimension provides a particular force to this revolution. So what the World Economic Forum is doing is to promote this public-private cooperation to master the fourth industrial revolution.
All right. And what will the impact be, Mr. Klaus?
The fourth industrial revolution will have multifold impacts. Of course, every industry will be digitalized, will be disintermediated, and has to define a new business model. But it's not only business which is affected, it's government which has to move over to agile government. It is society as a whole, with the danger of job losses, but also with the need to reskill and upskill people fast. So there's an impact on society. So we will have to prepare very well for this revolution. And I feel that the Asian countries with a relatively young population can manage and master this revolution easier compared to other countries in the world. What is particularly important is the educational system. We have to change the educational system, which is still very much anchored. Even in the 19th century, we have to adapt it to the need to change continuously, for example, jobs. So the new educational system has not only be aiming at developing digital capabilities, and I should add ethical norms, but it also has to be based on a lifelong educational system.
All right. Well, what I want people, I want to highlight from that I gather and I want to share with people is the fact that the fourth industrial revolution is a digital revolution. And in addition to that, pushing things into a digital direction. That's why I say a future part is going to be dealing with the whole digital revolution, digital ID, and going in that direction, and what the dangers, in my opinion, of going in that type of direction. That will be on another part. But then the other thing that he mentioned was education. That was the last thing he mentioned, education. And I've talked on previous videos before about the education factor. When it comes to the education, if you can control what's being taught, you can change the thinking of a nation. And I think the time period was it was Nathan Rockefeller, I believe. I can't remember if that's the name, but it was the actual first head of Department of Education in the United States. So being able to control the education on a public level allows for that propaganda and that conditioning and choosing what people are being taught. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree that what we're being taught in schools, or what you have been taught in schools, that there's a lot of other information that you should have been taught that you weren't taught. And there was a lot of things that you were taught that you really had no need for. And a lot of things that they taught us as well were false, incorrect, because a lot of history is incorrect. A lot of what they wrote about government is incorrect. Okay, so the next video that I wanted to share, this comes from a 2017 Young Global Leaders meeting. And I came aware of this because of this video with Joe Rogan that I'm going to be playing next here in a minute. When I became aware of that, when I watched that video with that interview, it made me go and, well, I'll just show the Joe Rogan one first, and then we'll show this one, because I found this video and then I started seeing other people covering it. So this is a little short snippet from Majid Nawaz, who came on Joe Rogan show, a controversial guest, and he was explaining how the World Economic Forum works and how it's infiltrating governments. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, play the next one, and then we're going to share a few more articles, and then I got a few more videos.
You see it. Our teams are now embedded in governments around the world. That's actually what they wrote.
Yes.
And the video is 2 minutes. I didn't play all of it. It's what he says.
But what he's saying there sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Figuring out on strategic ways to end the lockdown easily.
No,
that makes sense.
Not the end of the lockdown. No.
Didn't he say that?
Yeah. Keep in mind, Tony Blair is the one who's been advocating for vaccine passports, digital identification through COVID, and all of these measures.
But didn't they say that about ending the lockdowns and keeping businesses?
Once those measures are in place. Right. So he's, even in the UK, his stance has been, yeah, we're going to get out of all it, but you have to have digital ID and you have to have.
So
during
and
the war,
this is going to introduce the social credit score system.
Right. So what all of that came from your question, which is, regardless of intention, how do people do that infiltration from within? It's not just Twitter. So back to the psychological operations. It's also embedding people in government who are subscribed to this agenda. Yeah. And the agenda of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum is the same as the agenda of Tony Blair. So back to the psychological operations. It's also embedding people in government who are subscribed to this agenda. Yeah. And the agenda of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum is the same as the agenda of Tony Blair in this regard. They call it on their own website, they call it the Great Reset. That's what they say themselves.
Yeah, that's a bizarre thing to do, to openly. Why do you think they openly discuss it that way? And openly, because the Great Reset has always been this gigantic conspiracy theory among the online folks. Like, this is all part of the Great Reset. Well, when he wrote a fucking book called The Great Reset, you're like, hey, man, shouldn't you be hiding this?
And in 2017 at Harvard, he's saying, we're going to basically, all of these world leaders will penetrate their cabinets with our young global leaders. He's open about this. He's open. Blair's open. During the Iraq War, Blair tried to bring in ID cards in Britain. He failed. Now he's back and he's trying to bring in digital ID during COVID, right? So they're open about it.
So this is going to be this never-ending process to slowly move the goalposts
towards more and more authoritarianism. Checkpoint society. It's all there. They told us this.
People have to realize this, right? This is important.
Yeah, this is important. This is the reason why I'm doing this video. Somebody commented on part 1. It was like, aren't you a little late? I've been talking about the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab for like a year and a half, 2 years, but I haven't done specific videos as to what the World Economic Forum is, who Klaus Schwab is, what their agenda is, and where it's leading. And just like Joe Rogan says, people need to know this information so that you can make better educated decisions, because a lot of people are going to wrap this up as some conspiracy, but I'm just going off information that I found on the internet, articles, and a lot of it comes straight from the World Economic Forum, because what Majid Nawaz was saying came from the World Economic Forum and right out of Klaus Schwab's mouth. Here's the next one.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on.
Okay. There's a little bit of sound issues in this, like microphone issues, so I want to make people aware of that real quick, but also want to let people know, again, this is from the 2017 Young Global Leaders. As he mentioned, Angela Merkel, Vladimir Putin, they were alumni. They were a part of the Young Global Leaders. Justin Trudeau is currently a part of the Young Global Leaders. So this is a 1-minute clip. Very interesting. Pay attention.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on.
Now, notice what we're really proud of is Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on.
So that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception. We penetrate the cabinets. We penetrate the cabinets. We penetrate the cabinets. We penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's even more half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for
He's referring to the
actually
Canadian
young
Parliament.
that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's
it's pretty crazy. All right. We'll switch up something here. I got an image that I want to share. My friend Amina Motala, she was the one who had this image, and I took it from her Facebook site. Gonna go ahead and enlarge it. Okay, so this is the World Economic Forum Agenda 3050, 30 out of 50. So basically, Klaus Schwab's new world order is what this says. And this is the Canadian Parliament. It's showing that more than half the Liberal cabinet are members, known members of the Liberal caucus with ties to the World Economic Forum. They're penetrating cabinets. If they're able to take these various young global leaders and help them to get placed into these governments, then it's real easy for these young global leaders who are part of the World Economic Forum to push the agenda of the World Economic Forum, which is the goal. So people need to be aware of that. I think it's really important that people pay attention to those things. If you're just tuning in, again, make sure you're subscribed to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2. We're live streaming on both channels on YouTube, and we're also live streaming on flote.app, FLOTE.app. You can find me at Rice TVX, and I encourage you to check it out. It's a social media site application that promotes freedom of speech, free speech. I love it. So be sure to check out that site. And I'm going to be having Kingsley and Aaron on. I do have a playlist and videos of previous interviews with the guys and gals over at Flote. So be sure to check that out. Again, I will be coming towards the end of the video, coming back to the live chat and seeing what everybody has to say. Going to pull up the next few things that I wanted to share. All right. So this is an article that's basically kind of talking a little bit about what was shared on the Joe Rogan podcast with Majid Nawaz. Now, he's a British activist and a radio broadcaster, and basically saying that we are going towards a checkpoint society, is what he called it. Nawaz, the founding head of Qualium, which is a think tank dedicated to combating Islamic extremism, told Rogan in a 3-hour interview broadcast Saturday that the World Economic Forum has planted its members in national leadership positions around the world to pursue the organization's vast authoritarianism or authoritarian goal. Nawaz said that the World Economic Forum has worked on embedding people in the government who are subscribed to the Great Reset agenda, attempting to explain that the government leaders around the world have started pulling COVID-19 mandates and constraints while keeping in place an apparatus of digital tracking and identification that shapes the embryonic phases of digital social credit rating. And that's going into the fourth industrial revolution. Really interesting. And again, this is going to be linked down below so that you can read the article in its entirety. There's also an article here from Zero Hedge that goes in a little bit more information in regards to the 2017 Young Global Leaders. The information's out there, so everybody's been sharing it, and I think a lot more people need to share it. And these were a couple of the quotes taken from that, from Klaus Schwab. I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Angela Merkel and even Vladimir Putin and so on, they have all been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are really proud of is a young generation like Prime Minister Trudeau. We penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of the cabinet, or even more than half of his cabinet, are actually young global leaders. Really interesting. Again, they're sharing more information from the Joe Rogan podcast. kind of repeating a lot of what I'm saying, but a lot of what I'm saying I'm getting from combination of the World Economic Forum's website, the Great Reset information that's out from the World Economic Forum, in addition to the Joe Rogan stuff. So far, everything has been straight out of Klaus Schwab's mouth. So it's really easy to kind of put those things together. There's a timeline of the Great Reset agenda from foundation to event 201 in the pandemic of 2020. And this is on sociable.co. How the Great Reset ideology pitched its tent in the new normal camp perspective. The pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world to create a healthier, more equitable, and more prosperous future, more authoritarian future. And if you are the World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab, you attempt to sell your vision of global utopia via the Great Reset of the world order in three major steps. Three simple steps. One, you announce your intention to revamp every aspect of society with global governance and keep repeating that message. Because a digital ID would be a digital global ID. When your message isn't getting through, simulate fake pandemic scenarios that show why the world needs a great reset. If the fake pandemic scenarios aren't persuasive enough, then wait a couple of months for a real global crisis to occur and repeat step one. It took Schwab and a Davos elite about 6 years to watch their Great Reset ideology grow from a tiny Swiss seed in 2014 to a European superflower pollinating the entire globe in 2020. They make it as if this whole thing started in 2020, the whole Great Reset. But it was like this article stating in 2014 is when the idea started. They also have in this article, if you haven't seen it, the highlights, a highlight reel from a pandemic exercise from event 201. And this is an event where there was a, well, I don't, it's a simulated issue, but there was a pandemic and it was an exercise to see how everybody would react and how the world would fare in a pandemic. And what's interesting about that is a few months following the conclusion of Event 201, which specifically simulated a coronavirus outbreak, the World Health Organization officially declared that the coronavirus had reached pandemic status on March 11th, 2020. So, I mean, again, this is all just factual information. If you just look at all this together and you have an open mind and you can think for yourself and you can use critical thinking skills, I'm sure you can put 1 and 1 together and realize it equals 2. So since then, just about every scenario covered in the Clade X and Event 201 simulations has come into play, including governments implementing lockdowns worldwide to collapse many industries, growing mistrust between governments and citizens, a greater adoption of biometric surveillance technologies, social media censorship in the name of combating misinformation. My favorite, the desire to flood communication channels with authoritative sources, a global lack of personal protective equipment, a breakdown of international supply chains, mass unemployment, rioting in the streets, and a whole lot more. So 2014 to 2017, Klaus Schwab calls for his Great Reset agenda, and the World Economic Forum repeats this message constantly since 2014 in a meeting in Davos, talking about pushing the reset button on the global economy. And it also gets some information here. Hold on 1 second. All right. Just having a little bit of problem here. My eyes are okay. There we go. 2014, the World Economic Forum, the WEF, publishes the meeting agenda entitled "The Reshaping of the World: Consequences for Society, Politics, and Business." This is in 2014, and in 2015, the World Economic Forum publishes articles in collaboration with Vox EU called "We Need to Press Restart on the Global Economy." 2016, the World Economic Forum holds panels called "How to Reboot the Global Economy." 2017, World Economic Forum publishes articles saying our world needs a reset in how we operate. So it's just been a message that's been ongoing and been repeating. Again, this is linked down below, so I definitely encourage you to make sure that you're checking this out. Now, all right, I want to stop a screen share on this real quick and see where I'm at with video stuff, because I have 2 more videos that I want to share, but I'm trying to keep everything in a specific order. Okay. Something else that was really interesting that I found out. I wanted to stop the screen share. And yeah, okay, I got this. All right. Again, thanks for joining on today's live stream. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you check out part 1 of the Great Reset. If you're enjoying this video and you haven't already, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2, and the links are down below. Okay, so we're going to go back to a Chrome tab, and I'm going to share Canadian Parliament. Okay. All right. Make sure we get the volume turned up on this. So, Canadian Parliament ignores MP Klaus Schwab's question. So, basically, somebody's asking about this, and this was where is the date on this? Why am I not seeing the date? It's really weird. I know it was recent. Let's see. Default view real quick. Really weird. Can't really exactly see, but I'm pretty positive that this is a very new clip. But here we go.
The honourable member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know he was. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad, and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate. We have to call out disinformation.
We'll get into debate again. The honourable member, questions and comments. The honourable member for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm just thank you to my honourable colleague for her speech. A piece of legislation does not.
When I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the president, with the
WEF Forum, and he bragged how his democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but
it was a good question, but the audio is bad and the video is bad, so they couldn't answer the question. But it was a good question. So how did they hear the question if the audio is bad and the video is bad? But I think I could hear it. I think everybody else could hear what it was. So I'll repeat.
WEF, World Economic Forum, has quoted infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really
yeah.
bad.
How convenient. How convenient. Okay, I've got one more video I want to share, and then one more quick little article. Make sure I got both these set up right. Okay. Because I found this to be really interesting. These will be the last two things I share. We're going to probably wrap up the video in the next 10 minutes. Again, this was covering who Klaus Schwab was and what this Great Reset agenda is all about, so that it can prepare you, so that you can have some better information, and so that you can do some more research. And if you find something that you can add to this conversation, please comment in the video section. Comment down below in the comment section, because I will be doing future parts. It may just be part 3. It may be part 3 and 4. I am going to be talking about the digital revolution and also the great narrative. It may be combined in one video. It may be in 2 separate parts, but just stay tuned for that. I may actually do the digital ID part tomorrow. So just stay tuned. I may schedule that early in the morning. I may do 2 live streams tomorrow evening. I may be doing something quick about Russia and Ukraine as well. So just stay tuned for that in addition. Okay. All right. So I want to go ahead and share this next video. One more video. And again, all this is linked down below so that you can share this with your friends and your family. We got audio being shared. This is from February 28th, 2020. This is from Davos 2020. This is the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, his first time at a World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab introduces him. So we're going to go ahead and listen to this.
It's a pleasure to welcome you for the first time here at the annual meeting in Davos. Last April, you won the presidential elections in Ukraine with a staggering majority of 73%. I think this is a dream for any politician to have such a majority. Much emphasis and hope has been put into your government's ability to reform the Ukraine from within. You have laid out your extensive ambitions to remake Ukraine into a dynamic market economy, free of corruption.
Okay, I'm going to take it back.
At the same time, the Ukraine is faced with daunting challenges, and as a president, you have already had to deal with the political reality. Last April, the first time here at the annual meeting in Davos.
So this is President Zelensky of Ukraine's first time at a Davos meeting, World Economic Forum in 2020.
Last April, you won the presidential elections in Ukraine with a staggering majority.
So he won the election in April of 2019.
Of 73%. I think this is a dream for any politician.
It's a dream for any politician to win by 73%. So President Zelensky won in April of 2019 by 73%.
To have such a majority. Much emphasis and hope has been put into your government's ability to reform the Ukraine from within.
Reform the Ukraine from within.
You have laid out your extensive ambitions to remake Ukraine into a dynamic market economy.
Remake Ukraine.
Free of corruption. At the same time, the Ukraine is faced with daunting challenges, and as a president, you have already had to deal with the political reality in your first months of office. We are now very eager to hear from you how you see the future of Ukraine. Welcome very much, Mr. President.
It's like 8 people clapping.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here the first time. I'm the president of Ukraine, so I'll speak Ukrainian. Шановний пане голово, професор Шваб, шановні присутні.
Dear Mr. Chairman, Professor Schwab, dear all, for me, it's extremely really pleasant to be here at the 50th session of the World Economic Forum and using this opportunity.
So that was what I wanted to share with that. So we know that Vladimir Putin was a part of the Young Global Leaders, and we know that President Zelensky was a part of the World Economic Forum Davos in 2020, which is just 2 years ago. Literally 2 years ago. Okay, so the really interesting thing that I found about Zelensky, and I have not done enough research on Zelensky to say anything more than what I'm going to share. Some of you may be aware of this tidbit of information. I find it incredibly interesting. So there was a show that was out in the Ukraine called Servant of the People. This guy right here is President Zelensky. He was playing a Ukrainian school teacher that was elected as the country's president. This took place before he was actually president. So he is an actor, a comedian, but he's an actor, comedian, and did this show. Servant of the People. Again, where he was playing a teacher who becomes president of the Ukraine. He was not president of the Ukraine, but he ironically ended up as president of the Ukraine. And he's an actor. I'm not saying that what he's doing in the Ukraine is acting. He may be very good at politics. So I have not researched enough, but I found it to be a really interesting and an intriguing fact that Ukrainian President Zelensky was an actor who once played in a show about him becoming president of Ukraine. It's like, is this the matrix that we live in? It truly feels like that at times. So I want to go ahead and go through the comment section. That was pretty much everything that I was going to share on today's video. Abel Matthew, I appreciate you tuning in. Let's see here. I thought I was at the top. Dr. Drew, Sean C., good seeing you in the house, man. Thanks for joining. Tara Spence. Tell Jesse Perez Casanova to get in touch with me, because the last time I talked to him, he lost his mind. And he's got a lot he needs to work through before he tries to take on any additional responsibilities. He needs to work on himself, and you could tell him that Rice said that he needs to work on his mental health. I would recommend that. That is the goal. You will own nothing and be happy. I dislike them a whole lot myself, and I couldn't agree with you more, Allison Booth. Ronnie, thanks for tuning in. I thought that you had a wrench. Let me go real quick and get that straight. I'm on my phone. I'm scrolling down. You have a wrench. It just, I don't know. I really don't know. So you had a wrench. All right. So I appreciate everybody let me know that you could hear. Thank you very much for letting me know. I did check to make sure that was, that everybody could hear me on my phone. I was looking at the chat. Yeah, you can see once you start doing a little bit of digging and research, that's why I hoped at this information. I didn't want to put everything out in a video so that you wouldn't be able to discover more upon yourself, because there's a lot more information. It's just I really wanted to try to cover the basics and the most important information that I could regarding the part 1 video of what the World Economic Forum was or is, and then this second part, which is who is Klaus Schwab and what is the agenda. Let's see here. How's it going with changing your status? Well, I will be doing an update video in regards to my legal fiction journey. I did mention that yesterday on my live stream with Ethan Lucas for episode 20 of Spirituality of Law. I will try to do that this week. If I don't do it this week, it'll be early next week, but I will definitely try to get it done this week. And it definitely does, Misko, sound like the road to serfdom. I would agree. Again, smash that like button if you guys have not smashed. That would be greatly appreciated. It does help bring attention to the channel. It helps other people to find these kind of videos. And if you think these videos need to be found, then please share them as well, because that definitely helps. And yeah, I would say I've kind of said that the plantation got extended. We're on just a big giant plantation. What's going on, Dime Bar? Good seeing you in the house. The trick is the ability to use the tech and escape it. And that's what we're trying to do. A lot of people in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space are trying to build better alternatives. People need to realize that these technologies are tools. They can be used for good and bad. There's a duality in everything. Is a gun good or bad? And you can look at cryptocurrency and blockchains the same way. If you think a gun is bad, then you need to rethink this whole situation, because a gun is not a good or bad thing. It's just an object. It's a tool. Brando Commando, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. This list is 10K plus long. I'm not sure what list we're referring to, but AKA, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. That's an interesting question. But where is Trump? I'm very familiar with the Georgia Guidestones. I definitely would like to go visit the site and do a video there and get some footage. It's pretty crazy. Again, Dime, I appreciate all that you do for the channel. Thank you for all your support. Yes, he did. He co-wrote the book. You're right. You're completely right. And I talked about that on part 1 as well. And I did share a link for the book, a PDF download that you can get, so you can get it for free. Russia has 75% of the world's fertilizers on lockdown. Yeah, there's going to be some interesting things. I've been telling people to make sure that you're prepared for power outages, power grid going down, and cyber attack. So, you should have food and water and barter abilities and things like that. Just be smart. Kimono Yama, I've been trying to warn people of this mess since 95. Well, continue, man. Continue. Sometimes I get frustrated, but it's a dirty job. Someone's going to do it. We got to do it. We got to wake each other up. We got to love each other as we love ourselves. So think of it that way. Think of it as you trying to wake yourself up. And yeah, there's a lot of people who are way behind, but people needed to hear this information. And I felt like the timing of putting out these videos was on point, considering everything that's going on. Especially when I go over part 3, talking about the digital ID situation and the digital revolution. I appreciate you, Misko. Thank you, man. Definitely tune back in, and I appreciate. Make sure you comment on the video. Let me know what you think about the whole live stream after you get a chance to watch it. Let's see here. Dime Bar says this is all public and not applicable to the private. You're right, but I'm definitely going to be doing more videos on private versus public, so people can have a lot more understanding and comprehension, and I'm trying to get a better understanding and comprehension as well. Libra Justice, if you're not getting a notification, I encourage you to turn the notification off and back on. You You can also try unsubscribing and resubscribing. Sometimes those help. In 1986, the Bilderberg Group claimed to not exist, and that was a conspiracy theory. Yeah, but it obviously does exist. So it's crazy. It's crazy. If you see comments like this, just go ahead and delete them because it's gibberish. It's a bot. Totally have seen the. I haven't seen them, but I'm very, very familiar. My friend Stan Barabbas went there in 2020 when he came up to visit me. Protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Possible. And it is possible that all wars are fake, but there are casualties and there is violence that takes place. So maybe it's what the war is about that's fake. They are just an idea, a YouTube channel and a website. Problem is people just throw their hands up and say, what can I do about it? Well, they are not just an idea, not a YouTube channel and a website. Klaus Schwab has been at this for 51 years now. 51 years. And he is penetrating cabinets and governments around the world. The more people he has in place in governments, then the easier it's going to be to go towards this agenda. That's the reason people need to be aware of this, because we can stop things like this. Because again, when enough people take a stand, nothing can stand against the people. All right. Not sure who you're referring to, but yeah, I would agree the Third Reich did win. It wasn't the Nazis that won, or it wasn't Germany that won, but the Nazi Party. Let's see here. I'm not sure what was going on in the discussion there earlier. It looks like some people were having some conflict of some sort. Philip Thomas has watched a documentary, Ukraine on Fire. Also read President Andrew Jackson's veto speech concerning central banks. I'm very familiar with President Andrew Jackson, the president that actually paid off our debt and got us clear. Ended the well, depending on how you want to look at, second or third attempt to the central banking in the United States. Who? That's a good question. Who? Just like who told you you were naked? The bankers funded everybody. Good way to look at that is if you watch Game of Thrones, the Iron Bank. Notice the Iron Bank funded all the families. You're right. It's not money. It's only currency. Gold and silver is money. Let's see here. Lots of comments. I really do appreciate it. And somebody did say something in regards to Clint Richardson, and I am going to be checking out his more recent content. He should be back on the show soon. Kat Peterson, it's good to see you, girl. Glad that you're joining on today's live stream. Hope you're still with us. Let's see here. Freedom. Fantastic job, Rice. Can't figure it out if changing status is good. Need Robert Michael on with Clint Richardson. I'm still looking into it, but I will do an update video about my my journeys. So definitely stay tuned for that. Doesn't Senate Resolution 62 say that all property is owned by the state? I would have to review that in order to say for sure. Clint says Anna's way is making people stateless. I will definitely let people know that I'm not following Anna von Reitz, and I'm not a part of America's States Assembly, and I haven't gone through any of their methods, and I'm not a part of any of their state assemblies or anything to that effect. I found a lot of holes in what was going on there. And again, that's the reason why I haven't taken a lot of steps. That's why I'm continuing to research, because I want to make sure that I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's before I move forward. And I will check out I'm Batman 57. Somebody sent me a link. Brian Parker from Tactical Sovereignty sent me that. So it's on my list of stuff to check out. I mean, I'm trying to do everything I can. I will definitely check out the I'm Batman 57 stuff. I promise. A lot of people have been suggesting that I check it out. I'm very familiar with David Straight, and I'm not going to look into David Straight. David Straight, I may have him on the show, but he needs to prove that he was actually in the military. That's all I'm going to say about that. Otherwise, I would say 75%, maybe 80% of his history research is really on point. I would definitely say the same thing about Anna von Reitz, but methods of status correction and things to that effect, I don't agree with her on, but I do agree with both their history in a lot of areas. I can't say that they're 100% right in everything they're saying, but they do provide a lot of good information about a lot of the hidden history of the United States. So definitely worth checking out. But I don't believe he was actually in the military, and he tells people he was. I'm asking for proof. That would be nice, but I don't think people are quite yet at that point. So lots of information. I appreciate that, Libra Justice. Yeah, this is a long video. I'm over an hour and 10 minutes on this live stream. I was thinking it was going to be about 45, 50 minutes, but I did want to spend time and make sure that I am communicating with everybody here towards the end of the video, because I do appreciate everybody for watching and participating in the live chat. I want to make sure I don't miss anything important. John McAfee did have some information about going into public. Yes. And rest his soul. The Road to Serfdom is a book. Okay, so I have to check that out. Let's see here. We do have an extraordinary plantation. It's a huge, big, extraordinary plantation. Yeah, again, if you don't get notices, your notification every time I'm going live, I just encourage you to turn your notification bell off and back on, and then periodically maybe unsubscribe and resubscribe. It's crazy. It's shadow banning. It's YouTube not wanting you to watch my videos. That's all it is. Open a free choice society and bring back private ownership and small business and production, and get rid of corporations as individuals. Well, we would have to first get rid of the system that's existing in order to move forward. So, but I would agree that it is a step moving forward. I appreciate that, Sean C. Thank you, man. And we definitely need to talk about the World Economic Forum, because I would like to do a collective piece on a lot of this in a smaller video that's better produced. Not necessarily on a channel yet. Not going to go say no. I never say no. Try not to say no, but not going UFO right quite yet. So Leceste KV, I do a lot of videos on. If you have not checked out my law series playlist, my playlist series, check out that, and my freedom activist and something to that effect. I'm drawing a blank on the name of my own playlist. Thank you. I appreciate it. And if you do enjoy the channel, definitely I encourage you to share the channel with others so that we can build the channel up. Because the more people that are subscribed and watching the video, the more I can get through this YouTube algorithm and continue to get these messages out and help wake people up. And I've got a lot of really good content coming out over the next, I like to think I have a lot of good content, period, but I've got a lot of high profile guests that are going to be coming up over the next few months. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Sabertooth says, keep on rocking, Chris. I'm moving into solutions. Activate the cabal is losing. They're in panic mode. Solutions is something that I'm going to be focusing on a lot this year as well. Klaus Schwab looks like the kind of guy that is hiding in South America from Mossad. When you say that, this image on this thumbnail, what is this dude wearing? He's an old cat. It's like dressed like he's I don't even know how to describe this. It's just, what the hell? It's real interesting. Okay, so let me go back to the comments, and then we're going to wrap things up. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in once again. Junk Crusaders, Stir Guess. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm glad it's your first live. Make sure you check out part number 1 of the Great Reset, and definitely explore my channel if you're new to the channel. I do have a backup channel, Rice TVX2, so make sure you subscribe to that. Before we do wrap up today's video, I will play my Rice TVX promo trailer, letting everybody know how to sign up for my mailing list, where you can find me on social media, how you can support the channel, and all that various stuff. All right, well, let me see here. We got a few more comments. A lot of the Dutch Chamber members are also members of the WEF. I'm sure that if we were to really dig into this and really look into it, that we could probably find a lot of penetration, as Klaus Schwab says, done to governments via the World Economic Forum. Libra Justice says 5 years, 5 years almost, and I haven't crossed my I's and T's yet either. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the research. Now, Libra Justice, if you're not a part of my Telegram group, I would encourage you to join up on my Telegram group, and you can DM me. I've got links in the video description for my Telegram group, so be sure to check that out. Oh, here's the law playlist. Thank you, Dime. I appreciate you sharing that in live chat so you guys can check out the law playlist. This is all my interviews with people in regards to the legal fiction, law, status correction, all that good stuff. Appreciate the compliment on that. Yeah, he does look like a bad Star Trek. I was thinking Star Trek, but I was thinking Klingon, but I didn't want to do a disservice to the Klingons. He thinks he's a ninja. Good one. Third Coast, if you're new to the channel, I've interviewed Russell J. Gould. I can't support or back up that gentleman. His actions show that he is harming others in a multitude of ways, and I've done a lot of videos on this. I don't necessarily think that quantum grammar is something that is needed. The parse syntax quantum grammar. It was originally called the truth language back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. And it's interesting. It might be beneficial for contracts, but other than that, I don't really see a need for it. And the amount of time that somebody would need to spend to be able to perfect that language is an enormous amount of time. So it's like, do you want to learn French and not ever visit France? It would be kind of the situation. I think that David Wynn-Miller was a smart guy. I do want to get Mark Christopher on in regards to some of the things he's been talking about recently. But I'm not a fan of the quantum grammar. None of these gentlemen who claim to be postmaster generals or postmaster generals. They're just grown-ups playing make-believe, and it's a little bit silly. No, that is definitely not a conspiracy. If you go through my interviews, my high-profile list and my interviews, and you look at some of the people who I've had on my channel, some of the topics that I cover on my channel, and see that I only have a little over 25,000 subscribers, and then you hear that people don't get notified when videos come out, my numbers are not correct. I'm definitely dealing with an uphill battle, like a salmon swimming upstream. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And I would agree, all wars are bankers' wars because they're the ones who are supporting and supplying both sides. Paul and Slade has been on the channel, so please explore my law series. And again, Dime Bar did put the playlist. This is the playlist for the law series. You can see all the people I've interviewed. I've had Anavon Wrights, Russell J. Gould, but he's not in the playlist because I removed those videos from YouTube. Let's see here. Christopher James from Warrior Cause, Carl Lentz, Alphonse Fagiolo, guy named KL, really cool dude, Mr. Beneficiary, Robert Michael. We've had on Dean Clifford. We've had on his brother Darren Clifford, but I don't support DI5. Trying to think of a few others. BB Backus has been on the show. David Michael. I'm trying to think if I missed anybody. I always recommend that people check out Justinian Deception, especially for basic knowledge when it comes to the legal fiction, because I feel like Romley Stewart does a great job. A lot of people have been requesting that I get Romley on the show. I talked to Romley, but he is not trying to do any interviews. He's barely putting out videos. He is being harassed by police. His family is being harassed. He's kind of concerned. His partner is still locked up with no charges. He's been locked up for over a year. So he's really terrified of what's going on in Australia. I'm hoping to get him on the show. I've been begging him to come on the show. So hopefully we can make that happen. And thank you again. That was a comment that you said earlier. Okay, so it looks like my friend Dime Bar did an awesome job as cluing people in. Thank you, Dime. You're awesome. Yeah, we had Peter Wilson, we had Clint Richardson, we had Cal Washington. There's been so many people that I've interviewed when it comes to the legal fiction stuff. David Williams is another one. Dr. Drew, this is the first show you caught live. I'm glad to see it. We got a lot of first-time livers in the house, so it's awesome. It's totally awesome. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for taking the time to come and watch the channel. I will come back here in just a moment, but I want to go ahead and play my real quick Rice TVX infomercial so that you can know where to find me and how you can follow me and how you can support me and all that good stuff. I'll be back in just a minute. Before we get into it, visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. You will also find my various social media links and more. Make sure you're subscribed to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2, the backup channel. Both can be found on YouTube, and hit the notification bell to get alerted for new videos. You can also find Rice TVX on Odyssey and Library, where I have a full catalog of my videos, post up extra content, and share other appearances. And you can also find Rice TVX on BitChute. To support Rice TVX directly, you can contribute or send tips to PayPal, to Cash App, or cryptocurrencies via my Cointree link in the video description. Everything is appreciated. Another way to support what I do is by joining my Patreon channel, where you will get early access to some of my videos, exclusive content, and more. Kevin Setter asked, I've watched a few of your shows. Have you ever interviewed Carrie Cassidy? I have not interviewed her. She is somebody who I would like to get on, but she's just a fellow content creator. That's not diminishing her. It's just more of the times I'm trying to bring on guests that I can learn from or collaborate with. Carrie Cassidy, she has a very interesting interview style. She did interview Kim Gogan. Oh, that's somebody else who I've interviewed, her and Tank from Life Force as part of the Law series. I don't really feel like that was a very challenging interview. And I do plan on getting Kim back on here soon and trying to get some clarity on everything and having a more challenging interview with Kim this next time. So that should be interesting. I also want to encourage people to make sure you're taking advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Get that free ½ ounce of silver. All you need to do is go to moneymetals.com, be a first-time buyer. You purchase a minimum of $100. And you use the promo code RICE, you get a free ½ ounce of silver, and it's another way to support the channel. I also really want to encourage people to go subscribe to Rice TVX too, because I have over 25,000 subscribers on Rice TVX and less than 2,000 subscribers on Rice TVX too. With all the censorship that I'm dealing with, all the shadow banning, you never know what's going to happen to any of my channels. So if Rice TVX was to be deleted, then Rice TVX2 would become the main channel. So I would really like to see the numbers go up over on Rice TVX2. There is a lot of repeat content. I am going to be putting over some more content and some extra content that's not on Rice TVX over on Rice TVX2. But you should be subscribed there just so that you can make sure you're continuing to get my content. So make sure you subscribe to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2 on YouTube. And I'm also trying to get people to go over and subscribe on BitChute at Rice TVX. I got a BitChute channel. It's probably stuff you've seen on my YouTube channel. But again, the more places you can follow me, the more places you can guarantee you're going to be able to find my content. It would definitely be greatly appreciated. So make sure you're checking me out on BitChute. And also on Odyssey and Library. That's where I have my full catalog of videos. I've deleted more than half of my content, probably more than 70% of my content on my YouTube channel. And it's all on Odyssey and Library. That's the only place you're going to find my full, complete catalog of videos. Plus, I get to repost other videos of appearances that I'm on and other videos that I would like for people to check out. And I can repost old videos that I've done to bring more attention to those videos because it's something in there that people need to hear. So definitely keep all that in mind. I'm going to real quickly come back to the chat, and then we're going to wrap up today's video. I will be doing a video every day this week, Monday through Friday. I'm not going to have any videos coming out Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to be doing some spring cleaning and some much needed things around the house. So I'll be taking the entire weekend off and focusing on that kind of stuff. But you will have at least 5 videos coming out this week, possibly more, because I may be doing 2 live streams tomorrow. I've got an awesome interview tomorrow with somebody in the cryptocurrency space who's probably one of the best chart readers, analysts out there. And I've got several awesome other interviews coming up later in the week. All these videos will be posted to my Patreon channel for early access as soon as I'm done with them, unedited, so that you can check those out. And then I usually upload them sometimes within 24 hours, sometimes a couple days. I also post up exclusive content as much as I can over on Patreon. I am going to be bringing some people onto the Rice TVX team so that we can expand out and make sure that the experience of everything that we're doing just gets that much better. But I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. And Laura J. Hamilton, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I think I saw that you were live. You said, just tuned in after jumping off the Kingdom Within podcast. Thank you. And I will send you my Calendly link so I can get you both to come back on the show as well. I definitely encourage you guys to go check out Laura J's channel. I really appreciate the compliments. Let's see here. This is want to be a part of. Not really sure what Get a Pen is, but if you could clarify, I'd appreciate that. Dr. Drew, thank you. If you have, I've done 4 interviews with her, and out of those 4 interviews, nothing has been proven or disproven. I can't prove or disprove, and she can't prove, which is really interesting. I'm not sure who Ayahuasca Dean is, but I'll check into Ayahuasca Dean. And I'll try to follow you live. It's 3:30 in the morning now, so sometimes that's a problem. Yeah, no, and normally I don't go live as late. Normally the latest I go live is like 7 o'clock my time, but I did it 8 because I did some grocery shopping and had some errands to run and some things to do around the house. And also trying to work on my mental health, so I'm not working 24/7, 365. Third Coast, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you as well. I love every single one of you. I appreciate all your support. Appreciate everybody watching. I will be doing a video talking about Russia. I'll probably be doing it tomorrow. I will be letting people know. Bitmod Crypto. Who is this? I want to check into this account. I'm not really sure at all. Yes, actually, I have done something. Have you done a live with James Rink? I did a video. I'm not sure if there was a mix-up in what was being said, but I did do a video with James Rink. I live in North Carolina, and so does he. We're just on 2 different ends of the spectrum. I do like him. He's a really good dude. Really nice, very polite. I would like to get him back on the show because we were talking more about his documentary that he put out, Changes on the Horizon, and not so much about the, how do you say it? Secret space program is, I think, what they use. So yeah, he has been on the show. Had a lot of people on the show. That's why I encourage people to go through and check out my playlist section. But I will be doing a video deep heady on Russia conflict, and I will update people what I know. Okay, that's awesome. I just want to make sure because, obviously we got a lot of scammers stuff because, I have to throw up my little, I have to go through my stuff here and find it. My little warning of people about imposter accounts. And I will take this opportunity again to beware of people of imposter accounts. I'm not going to email you or DM you regarding anything about sending me money or crypto or participating in any kind of investment or pyramid scheme. Report these fake accounts. I do ask that people that want to support the channel, but I only do that in the videos. I don't do it in comments. I don't do it in DMs. I don't do it in emails. All I do is let you know in the intro and my little Rice TVX promo reel ways that you can support the channel. And then I also have this scrolling across the bottom of the screen, which says if you could tip and contribute via PayPal, Cash App, or my cryptocurrency addresses on my CoinTree link. So, and you can support on Patreon, but I will not DM you I will not email you asking you for any money or crypto or to participate in any kind of investment scheme, pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing. This is happening not only for myself, but other content creators. So please report these accounts. That would be greatly appreciated. All right. We are going to go ahead and wrap up today's video. X22 report, I used to like a lot. I just think he got too heavily involved on the 17 train. That's not a train that I'm currently on. I'm the open-minded skeptic. I was looking into it, but I'm not one of those individuals who thinks that Trump is the president or that Mar-a-Lago is the White House. I definitely believe our government is a corporation and there's a lot of fuckery going on, but I'm not in that particular camp. So just try to keep it real. The open-minded skeptic, the American pit bull. But thank you again, Steph. I appreciate it. And if you are the one that helps Ben bust scams, that is awesome. And I will ask about you. I've got your name, Bitmod Crypto. I'll contact TJ and crew. I'm actually going to be interviewing Meta Money, New Money Gang on Thursday. So yeah, 100%. 100. Kevin Setter. Sorry about that, Kevin Setter. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Mr. X. Much love. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button again. Make sure you are subscribed to all the channels, all the good stuffs. Make sure you're checking out part 1 and stay tuned for more videos coming out this week. If you're not signed up for my mailing list at ricetvx.com, go sign up for the mailing list. I am going to have merch available soon. I'm working on it. I'm even doing things myself, and that's another reason why I'm going to be taking the weekend off. I'm about like 90%. I've got some shirt designs. I'm not a shirt designer, but I think these look all right. And hopefully we'll have an artist, a graphic artist in the future helping us with future merchandise. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Dime, Cat, thank you so much. Libra Justice, all the good peoples. Thank you for joining us. And I will leave you this. Be blessed. Be the change. Practice change.